Alright, so as we're not able to do some of the activities I've planned for class time, I figured I'd just do some additional examples from those activities so you could use them for your homework and that kind of thing. So this one, solve the following radical equation. We have square root of 54 minus 5v minus v equals negative 8. So this one is another square root problem where our first step, even if it wasn't a square root, if it was any root, is we want to isolate the root. So we're trying to get this piece by itself, the square root of 54 minus 5v. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to add v to both sides. So that will leave me with square root of 54 minus 5v. That's all under a square root equals negative 8 plus v. Now what I'm going to want to do, because I've isolated the square root, is I need to undo it. And I undo square roots by squaring. So I'm going to go ahead and square both sides. Okay, now on my left-hand side, right, a square cancels out a square root since the whole thing is a square root. So we're just going to be left with 54 minus 5v. And I'm going to take this time to remind you that when we square something, it means multiplying it by itself, right? So if we have negative 8 plus v squared, that does not mean we can distribute this in. It does not become this in any way, shape, or form. That is bad, bad, bad. It's very tempting to do, though. But what does happen is because squaring means multiplying by itself, negative 8 plus v squared becomes negative 8 plus v times negative 8 plus v. Then we can go ahead and multiply that out, right? We've got to FOIL it. So 54 minus 5v equals, I'm going to distribute here, negative 8 times negative 8 is 64. Negative 8 times v is negative 8v. v times negative 8 is negative 8v. v times v is v squared. Okay, then I can combine like terms. So 54 minus 5v equals 64 minus 16v plus v squared. Okay, and this is where we should think, oh, cool, I have a quadratic, right? I have a squared term right here. So whenever I have a quadratic, I need to get it equal to 0, right? I need to get everything on the same side and get it equal to 0. So that's what we're going to do first, okay? So I'm going to move it to this, the right-hand side, because I like having a positive leading coefficient. So I'm going to, sorry, I dotted there. I'm going to add 5v to both sides and subtract 54v, and so that will give me 0 equals 10 minus 11v plus v squared. I'm going to move up here to finish my problem. So I've got v squared minus 11v plus 10 equals 0, right? I didn't change anything here. I just reordered it because I like starting with x squared. I like having it in standard form before I factor. And now I'm going to factor this. So leading coefficient is 1. So I'm just looking for what multiplies to give me a positive 10 and adds to give me a negative 11. That's going to be negative 10 and negative 1. Remember, that's how it factors. That's not our solutions. Our solutions here would come from, v minus 10 equals 0 and v minus 1 equals 0. You solve both of those equations. We get v equals 10 and v equals 1. But now we have to check the equation. Okay, so now we have to check the solutions in the original. Okay, so I'm going to flip to a new page and we'll do that there, right? We cannot just say that the deal is done and these are our answers. We've got to check both of them. So my original problem, again, is 54 minus 5v minus v equals negative 8. Remember, you always check it in whatever you were given. You always check it in the given problem. Okay, so first I will check v equals 10. So we've got 54 minus 5 times 10 minus 10 equals negative 8. 54 minus 50 minus 10 equals negative 8. Radical 4 minus 10 equals negative 8. 2 minus 10 equals negative 8. That is true. So v equals 10 works. Now I'll check v equals 1 and see if that one works. So 54 minus 5 times 1 minus 1 equals negative 8. 54 minus 5 minus 1 equals negative 8. Square root of 49 minus 1 equals negative 8. 7 minus 1 equals negative 8. 6 equals negative 8 is not true. So now going back, we've checked both of them. Notice I didn't get a domain error, right? I can take the square root of 49. That's not where I ran into my issue. Where I ran into my issue is that square root of 79 is a positive 7, not a negative 7. So we got to check it all the way through. Again, you don't have to show every single step. You could just have typed this part into your calculator and then shown that it gave you 6, right? I just don't have my calculator, so I'm doing it all the way out and to really show you the steps through the video. But that means that here we can say, okay, no, thank you. My answer is v equals 10, and we're done.